As I was coming home from the temple, the wind kicked up, causing the dust to stir. It pained my already dry skin. My mind was reeling because the news I had to share with my husband felt so grim. I loved our beautiful village in Canaan, which was once surrounded by the most sweetest of groves, oak, terebinth, tamarisk, and fig trees, which once bore the sweetest fruit. But the trees were dying along with our spirits. Drought had gripped the land, and the honeyed smell of blossoms was replaced by the cloying grit of dryness. I was no longer young, and the thought of traveling hurt just to think about it. We needed to leave our home and travel to Egypt. Why Egypt, you ask? Because Egypt was home to the oldest and most powerful of mystery schools. They were the magicians of weather, something we desperately needed to learn. We wanted to bring these teachings back to our lands. In truth, Abram knew this as well as I did, but the thought of our discussion was still painful to bear. Long ago in our youth, we had to leave behind our birthplace, the city of Ur, and travel. And now, the thought of a journey to Egypt was daunting.
My Sarai, we are no longer young. How can we think about leaving our family and our communities? Traveling to Egypt is long and arduous.
I know, my love, but what shall we do? Stand by helplessly as our loved ones starve without even water to drink?
What about our flocks, our wealth? What will become of them?
Without water, there can be no wealth. Like our loved ones, our flocks will not survive in this barren land. I sought out a vision in the temple rituals, and this is what I saw. I was walking amongst the nighttime sky, and voices called out to me. I was confused. On one side, there were fish dancing on starlight, and on the other side, a dried out dead serpent suddenly plumped up, rose to life, and hissed at me. I fell backwards in fear, and the stars gathered around me.
That is a powerful vision. With the stars, the fish, and the serpent, I'm called to go on my own lekba eretz, a land walkabout, to listen and to learn.
Abram went off in solitude. He was gone for 3 days, and I began to worry. But I needn't have. When he returned, he hugged me tightly.
My Sarai, my princess, your wisdom far surpasses my own. I saw the stars that you walk amongst. They are the Milky Way, heaven's twin to the Nile River in Egypt. Fish are emblems of fertility that reside in Egypt's Nile. There we will find knowledge, richness, and fertility. The stars will guide and protect us.
Abram, what did you see of the serpent that hissed at me?
Sarai, you already know in your heart what that portends.
As a matter of fact, husband of my heart, I do. The serpent is the symbol of the goddess in Egypt and the wisdom that she carries. When the serpent hissed, I was scared. That goddess is implacable, and when she does that, it strikes fear into my heart.
And she also points the way.
It is decided then. Egypt holds the key. And this is how we came to Egypt and the mystery schools. I heard that in your time you had not heard of the Egyptian mystery schools. I find this hard to believe, as they were the oldest and most esteemed of my time. I heard that in your time there were complexes of schools in Eleusis and Delphi, which were more well known. Well, the truth is, if they contain even just a tenth of the knowledge of the Egyptian mystery schools, they would still be very powerful indeed. In Egypt, they had whole mystery schools with international students. People came from as far as Samaria, Acadia, Assyria, Media, and more. It was a wonder to see, and even more wonderful to experience. I still remember when we arrived in Heliopolis. Our eyes were as big as the full moon disk. There was the Nile River for water purifications. And there was the labyrinth with 12 courtyards where 100 people could congregate, and there would still be enough room to dance. It was a dream come true, spirit life, land of spirit life. I'm told that in your time it is not generally known that Egypt had a labyrinth, as it no longer exists. This saddens me. The Greek historian Herodotus did know of this labyrinth. He said it was more impressive than the pyramids. More impressive than the pyramids? Pliny wrote that Daedalus took his information from the Egyptians to build the pyramid in Crete. Hard to imagine how it all could have disappeared so completely.
When we arrived, we were welcomed by the elders. We told them about our need to learn weather magic. They nodded and told us that in order to learn any magic, you must start off with the foundations of the teachings. They said that their schools contain a wealth of knowledge, wisdom, and experiences, and that we can join in for however long we want.
At our first meeting at the labyrinth, there were 10 of us, including Abram and myself. We held each other's hands as our breaths hitched in wonderment. Our guides were the priestess Hunra and the priest Bakari. They explained the meaning of the labyrinth as our central focus for the teachings.
We consider the labyrinth to be the birth canal of the great goddess Isis. It is a pathway of renewal. When we walk to the center, we're letting go, a death of sorts. When we walk out, we're reborn through the agency and blessings of Isis, our mother in spirit.
I never realized this before. Can we consider it the birth canal of the goddess Inanna?
Or the goddess Ashera?
Yes, we see each of the great goddesses as one, who simply wear different clothing.
I could feel Abram's hand grip mine tightly as he nodded in agreement.
You can see we have 12 courtyards. Each one is a different teaching theater. Each one imparts different knowledge. That's where you'll be meeting your teachers, each one an expert in gateway experiences.
And for this, we're all in for a treat. One of the names of the center of the labyrinth is Cave Heaven, which means there's a whole earth under our feet and all of the heavens above us. In our practices, We become the spinal pathway, the link between the two. In this manner, our bodies becoming living gateways.
We have exercises and rituals that'll help you to feel these energies. And I can tell you this, that to stand in the center, to be that gateway, that bridge, to embody the very essence of heaven and earth, it is the very definition of ecstasy.
And so it was quite the treat, just as Hunra and Bakari had promised.
We do this mystery schoolwork so we can feel the life cycles in our own bodies and know them for truth. This is the immortal cycle of mortality.
We feel these fires of spirit in our blood. It vibrates in the very essence of our being. This is fertility at its most foundational roots. This is the fertility of creation itself, and thus the fertility of we human beings.
And this is how we know, truly know, ourselves as part of the grand dance that is creation.
We stayed in the mystery schools for 1 year. We cycled through the 12 courtyards. The lessons all involve life, death, and rebirth in various forms through water, soil, and ceremony. We learned weather magic through the cycles of water and the foundations of its energies.
I know the scribes try to change our story and erase the mystery schools. The schools were considered dangerous because they gave us each the power of independence, of not needing a priestly caste to guide us to spirit. In the mystery schools, we are each our own leader of our own spiritual journey.
But the truth of the mystery schools still exists in the spaces of your holy books and in the cells of our bodies. The most obvious is that when we were initiated in the mystery school teachings, we were given a new name, a spirit name, to represent our learnings. I, as Abram, became Abraham.
And I, as Sarai, became Sarai. Ha, or ah, are the universal life breath syllables, and to have them added to our names is the highest of honors.
And second, after receiving our new names, we learned that we would be parents leading to the birth of our son, Isaac.
Fertility is the second clue that we received a mystery school initiation. Fertility is the fundamental life-death cycle, and I, myself, at an advanced age, became fertile. The mystery school is an exploration of the big mysteries of life. There's much writing in the Bible and other sacred texts. If you feel the calling for sacred knowledge, seek and you shall find. Ask and it is given.